Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for May 18th. So, in case you haven't heard, I have decided for sure over the course of the summer, because you know what? We need to enjoy the sun. We need to step away from kind of the crazy, honestly, that we've been living with for almost 4 years now, ever since he came down that elevator. So I want to just slow things down a wee little bit. So what's going to happen is the Intuitive Tarot, this channel, there's videos that are going to be released instead of daily. They're going to come out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. For those of you who watch the Soulprint Insights channel, those videos will be coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And of course, Sunday is for the positive energy circle, and that will continue to be released on Sundays. And for those of you who might have missed it, the positive energy circle yesterday was to send healing and protective energy to those who heal, discover, protect, and serve. So, pretty big list. So if you haven't done that and you feel inspired to, feel free to go check it out it's on either channel. Actually, you can find that video on either channel. So I want to take a look at Trump. There is a lot that's going on that is just really, really upsetting him. And so he's trying very hard to shift the dialogue. And we know when he does that, he tends to not only sort of do some stuff that maybe kind of might make sense in some depraved way, but usually he comes up with things that are incredibly stupid because it just starts a conversation going and everybody sort of is ignoring the last crazy thing that went on. So I want to take a look and see how he's doing and see what things might be on his mind, perhaps. So that is my question. I want to know how Donald Trump is this week. All right, come on down. I have a question. All right, so Trump, current, mental, physical. Trump, current, mental, physical. Trump, current, mental, physical. Okay, so his group, the people that he works with, the people who are there to comfort him, feed him lies, support him, try to keep him from becoming completely unhinged, that circle is getting smaller and smaller and tighter because he's actually becoming more and more like paranoid. And so he only wants those people that he knows really well and that he trusts really well in his immediate physical circle. Now, he has expanded, if you will, his next circle, which is, communications with friends, whoever, by phone. Okay, so he's on the phone a lot. He's talking to a lot of people on the phone. But as I said, so that circle may be expanding, but certainly the one that is closest to him has really, really shrunk. Again, when the valet got sick, that was almost like a straw that would have broken him back because he just, this guy is everywhere doing everything. And Trump is a well-known germaphobe. So you can kind of see where that would have really shaken him up. And it doesn't feel as if he's getting his feet under him yet. It feels like things are still very, very shaky. So that's going on. He has that circle tightening around him. And that circle consists of people like Jared Kushner, who has never given him a solid, helpful piece of advice in 4 years. Everything he suggests has blown up in Trump's face. So that's always a great advisor to have. And this is the thing, right? They're telling him stuff that he doesn't want to hear. He doesn't want to hear that Biden is kicking his butt in the polls. He doesn't want to hear that his approval rating has sunk so low, it's just flat out in the negatives. He doesn't want to hear that only about 15% of people agree with the way he has handled this medical health crisis. And whether we can see it or not right now, he can see it because of the internal polls and stuff they do, that he is actually losing by bigger numbers, I think, maybe than we even are able to see or have heard about yet. So he is seeing literally his dream of being the king, running the big government, being able to brag about how amazing he was, winning 2 elections to really, really prove to him that the world loves him, to feed that ego of his. He's seen that dream really fall by the wayside. He is seeing some of the consequences or the ramifications for some of the stuff that he's done. And, he spends a lot of his energy trying to convince people to not look at him. Right? He doesn't want to take responsibility for any of this. So there's a lot of spin that goes on, of course, and there's a lot of these like partnerships or groupings of people that really don't serve him as well as maybe even perhaps than he thinks they should. But there is definitely a lot of he's really going to experience a lot of sort of pulling away this week. It's going to become more and more noticeable that people are just sort of starting to distance themselves a little bit from him. And so that's like kind of concerning to him. Now, those court cases are coming down, and that is a huge worry, because if we know one thing that makes that little vein in Trump's forehead pound is the word personal taxes. So that's going to be interesting to see. I believe that comes down in the middle of June. And so that's going to be interesting to see sort of how he tries to handle or manage the anxiety and worry connected to that as he moves forward for the next several weeks. So he fired somebody else. He fired the Inspector General, I guess, for the State Department. Because, anybody who had anything to do with his impeachment is getting fired. They're having their lives destroyed, their careers destroyed. He doesn't care. He's all about vengeance. And that behavior is honestly going to be what people are looking at. And they're going to be like, you know what? We have this big, huge thing going on, not only in terms of our health, but we have this great big thing going on in terms of our economy. And Trump wants to offer empty promises about the economy and go on rampages behind the scenes and doing things that have to do with vengeance as opposed to help. And so, again, and this is the thing, right? That information out of the White House, it has gone, for a while there, it was like a sieve, right? And all the secrets kept sort of coming out, right? Like shifting out like flour, I guess, in a sieve. We've now gone to garden hose, okay? And heaven help us the day we get to fire hose in terms of leaks and information coming out of the White House, because people there are just like, he is so out of control, we can't even figure out what to do or how to stop this or slow it down. And so the idea is to get the information out there so that they're almost hoping that he will be embarrassed into being quiet. Okay, I don't know that that's actually going to work, but I think that, because when he hears things on television, they have a greater impact. I think maybe there's some attempt there to get him to focus on what's actually important as opposed to what he thinks is important. But, this is the thing about the guy. He has a list of grievances, right? He just literally, if you don't like him, you are his enemy. There's nothing benign about his emotions, right? He either hates you or he loves you. You're either his friend or you're his enemy. And so what's happened is he's looking at all of the other people he still wants to punish. And people are saying, listen, be satisfied with what you've got because there's more important stuff going on, and he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to listen. So that's going to be happening. Now, it's interesting that you have both the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups. Now, as you know, the Ace of Swords often represents Joe Biden. And this time, more importantly, it seems to be talking about the strength of the rule of law, the power of emotions. And so it's very much looking to me like he's going to get some more bad news. This little stunt that Barb pulled with Flynn is not going to go down quietly. People are going to demand that justice be served in that case, and dropping the charges after somebody has pled guilty twice is not justice. So there's that going on. And he's not going to like it. He's going to be pushing back against it. Nor, with this Ace of Cups sitting here, it's sort of an indicator that his emotions may be even more unhinged as than we have seen before. And so that's frankly a terrifying little thought. But there definitely seems to be some sort of connection between him hearing things that are legal, pertaining to the law, pertaining to, again, even this could even be his polls, but pertaining to things that he wants to go one way and they don't appear to be falling for him that way. And of course, the Ace of Cups is talking really about just emotions, right? About his emotions being a little bit overwrought. So he's going to try to talk about his economy this week. He's going to try to spin things. He's going to really, really try to shift the dialogue. And the problem with that is, frankly, is that there's a certain segment of the population who sort of, it's like this. It's like, well, I don't understand. That's why we vote these people in. And so they just need to deal with it. If they need to do something with the stock exchange or that, whatever, I don't get it. I don't know. We're just going to trust that they're doing the right thing. And so everybody is starting to get a grasp of the fact that that's actually not very accurate and it's not very true. And so that which he sees his strength and the way he chooses to spin it is not going to serve him because justice is here. And justice wants him to be accountable for his actions and behaviors. And justice wants those scales balanced. So, it just sort of looks like a really a week where he is spending a lot of time looking away, and with every day more and more becomes less obscured. It comes out from the secrets. It comes out of the fog. And so there's going to be many more leaks. I would not be surprised if there is going to be obviously similar, steep emotional reactions with this guy. But it feels like not only leaks from the White House, but it feels like there could be an expose or two that some very clever reporter is ready to release. So there's going to be a lot coming out this week, and he's just going to do what he always tries to do, which is ignore it, right? I'm not going to look at what I don't want to look at, even though what it is the truth. I don't like the truth. I don't want to hear the truth. I mean, he really is one of those who can't take the truth, honestly. But the more comes out, the more he's going to go into denial, and the more he is going to become more volatile and more agitated. Don't be surprised if they try to push him out to a lot of rally type things, election type things, because they're really going to start trying to swing it that way. In addition to the whole economy is great thing, which it's not. But they're going to try to get him somewhere or to get him sort of surrounded by his guys, his people. So I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a rally coming up this weekend. I don't know if there is or isn't. You're going to see it in terms of announcements about where he's going to be traveling to and what he's going to be doing. You've noticed that just in the last couple of weeks, of course, he's been making more and more kind of little trips here and little trips there, to walk among people without a mask on, nonetheless. And again, that is part of what they're doing to try to keep him like at least somewhat unhinged. Is they're just starting to surround him with yes people, with people who are going to cheer and tell him he's wonderful and tell him, of course, he's going to be reelected and nobody's ever done anything better than he has. He needs that reinforcement right now because he's on pretty shaky ground. And you also have the Chariot. So this is indicating that there is movement, forward movement. He's going to be able to gain a little bit of traction with what's going on this week, but it's not going to sustain him for long because, again, justice is riding in. And look, we have the Fool, which is my other my other card for Trump, and we have the Eight of Swords. So one way or another, he is going to be bound. What does that mean? Well, does that mean that he is going to be held responsible? Yeah. Does it mean that there may be more information that comes out that doesn't reflect well on him? Yes. Does it mean that in time to come, he's going to be very busy trying to salvage his name and his brand? The answer to that is yes. And, for a long time, I've been saying, death by 1,000 cuts. So it's just going to be these little slices that, knock down his ego and knock down his ego and knock down his ego. And those slices have already started. And they're just going to continue to build those swords around him, all the way around him. And he's just going to be trapped. So it's going to be an interesting week energetically because it feels like stuff is going to come out and he's going to be really upset about it coming out. He doesn't want this kind of information out in the public. And whether that is about how weak they were or how much they pushed back against the appropriate CDC guidelines and they wanted them all weakened. Whether that is, Donald Trump flat out said the other day somewhere or another, he doesn't want any more testing done because you know what? Then it makes the numbers look bad. Wow, the numbers get really bad the more testing they do. And so, yeah, let's just not do that anymore, okay? Because it's making me look like I don't know what I'm doing. But there's going to be more information that's coming out behind the scenes, more information about what goes on behind the scenes and what doesn't go on behind the scenes that perhaps should be. So a very interesting week up ahead. The more he tries to keep things hidden, the more they are exposed. And the more, frankly, he is left literally out in the cold because who he has around him and what he has around him have gotten to the point where they just simply tell him whatever he needs to be told to keep him calm. And so that's how come he goes out in public and he says the most incredibly stupid stuff and stuff that could be fact checked by a 3-year-old on a computer. But he believes it because that's what people are telling him is the truth. And so when stuff starts coming out in the media, in print, out of, from the judge's bench, that really push back against what he wants to be private or when he wants to do what he wants to do, how he wants to do it. It just really, more and more, it just makes him realize that, you know what, he is in far too deep. The question becomes, of course, do we think that when the information on the taxes is ruled on, if it does not go in his favor, wondering if that could actually be what really, really sets this "it's time for me to leave" plan into action, because he's going to want to stop those tax returns from being exposed. And I don't know, he's gone to the highest court in the land. So I'm not seeing exactly where he's going to win that one. So do we think he might try to leave in June? Well, you know, he just might. No promises, people, no promises. You have the card of retreat, of illness. You have the death card talking about things ending and new things being allowed to begin because of it. You have the Hanged Man here talking about things that need to be seen from another perspective or a different perspective. Is he going to learn anything? No. No, he's incapable of it. He will just rewrite history the way he does everything else and make it so that he comes out not only ahead, but responsible for the brilliance. Okay? Okay. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe in another week or two, I'll see if I can drill down a little bit on what June looks like for him. But certainly this week looks very, very topsy-turvy. It looks like a lot of bad news is coming his way. It looks like a lot of things that he wanted kept secret are not going to be secret. And you can, because of that, you can expect more volatility. And again, don't be surprised if he's either out on the road a little bit or they announce a whole bunch of places that he's going to be out on the road, because they're really at this point trying to keep him away from kind of the day-to-day stuff at the White House, because he is no longer, frankly, mentally capable of honestly sort of like making any significant decisions, because he's in such a state of rage and anger, and his thoughts really, really are quite scrambled. And they're going to, you know, again, they're scrambled now. They're kind of going to continue to be scrambled. The bottom line is that he's just not going to be able to take the glory for, I mean, he sent out a tweet the other day, I guess something about where the states where the numbers are dropping and the curve has been flattened, etc. He sent out a tweet, and of course, this is the guy that's taking no responsibility, and everything was the governor's responsibility. He was doing nothing. And this is the same guy who now is up there screaming about how they couldn't have done such a fabulous job without my complete support. I'm behind them, yak, yak, yak. What a fool. So the delusions ramp up, and they ramp up, and they ramp up. And those who are trying to make him see that good fortune is coming his way are carrying an unbelievably heavy burden. Why? Because more information continues to come out. There are new insights, new avenues to explore, new catastrophes, all kinds of new information is coming out and coming out and coming out. And so that's where we're going to be this week. And frankly, I imagine all the way till the end of May is going to be difficult. But so this week, look for increased either traveling or announcements of trips. Look for more backroom stuff coming out. More insider information about what's going on in the White House. There may be some stats, some actual stats that get released. I don't know if that's going to be from the government federally or state stats about how the virus is doing and where they're being impacted and not. Expect to see more pushback. I didn't say this, but expect to see more pushback from the meat packing industries, those areas that surround it, because they're getting infected by leaps and bounds, which again is something he's going to absolutely take no responsibility for. He just wants his hamburger and his steak on the table when he wants to eat it. Expect that he's there, because of the stuff that's coming out, and the fact that he has to wait to find out some legal answers, he's going to be much, much more volatile. In some ways, he's going to become more black and white. Honestly, it's like, if you're saying what I like, I'll listen to you. If you say 3 words that I don't like, shut up, get out of my face. I don't want to hear it. So there's going to be a real sort of rigid, it feels like a rigid line in his mind. You are either one or you are the other. You cannot walk down the middle of the road. And if you're with me, you're not with them in any way, shape, or form. So you're going to see more of that. You're going to see more talking, more spin, more trying to push towards the economy. Never mind that, there's millions of people who are unemployed. Never mind that there isn't adequate medical. Never mind that I completely screwed up on the whole testing thing as a fiasco. Never mind. I just want to talk about happy things. I want to talk about those things that convince you that I'm the best thing since sliced bread. And that's what you've got here. You've got another week of that kind of going on. And those, of course, are going to be the last 2 cards, right? As things crumble and the judgments increase, he's going to get worse and worse. Okay? That's just the bottom line there. He's just going to get worse and worse. So there we are. There we have it. That is the reading for this coming week, and in terms of how Trump is doing. And so there you have it. Okay. So I'll see you on Wednesday and then on Friday. If you're in the Insights, I'll see you on Tuesdays and Thursdays there. Thank you for those of you who support the Positive Energy Circle. And anybody who's looking for a private reading, in the box below is an email address. Just send me out a note and I will respond to you directly. So take care. Be well. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.